Good morning, everybody. Just coming on 5 a.m. over on the East Coast. It is Wednesday, March 26th. This is going to be a members-only video. I'm not going to share this out to anybody, but I want to make it very, very clear. Be careful about your upside plays right here. Be very, very careful, while at the same time, like I said yesterday with the caution, the downside is not going to pre-announce itself. And when it comes, it is going to come and ba-boom, you will see it. For the week, 57.86.95 yesterday, 57.87 we'll call it, 57.18 being the lows from Monday. We are not at a 100-point range as of yet. And the reason I mentioned it yesterday is you will not find a single week this year which is traded less than 100 points. You would need to go back to the second week of December and the first week of December as we were hitting up there at 60.99.97, where we chopped around, and you see here right in the center of your screen all of these range days, 18, 18, 28, 21. Tops are processes. Bottoms are events. And what did that lead into? Led into that FOMC meeting day where you turned $75 into 12.5 grand. We don't have an FOMC meeting coming up, but we do have GDP, we do have PCE, and we have the end of the month, and we have the beginning of tariffs coming up in April. So be very, very cautious and careful about how you make your decisions. 0 DTE, 1 DTE, 2 DTE, 5 DTE. Because I tell you here on the QQQ, seeing almost the same thing here. And I'll show you on the charts really quick because IWM, this is kind of the canary in the coal mine that is whistling to everybody. But I'll start you out first and foremost with the futures, which once again, futures are going into oversold very much like they were yesterday. Fractionally down. We're down 7 points on the ES, 35 points on the NQ, 50 points on the YM, 5 points on the Russell 2000. We are nowhere as far as the downside goes. So I have to go into my old hieroglyphics. And why am I not getting links now? I'm having some computer problems all of a sudden. And I'm not happy about that because, as you know, I'm going out of town this weekend to see my oncologist. So this was the hieroglyphics chart that I shared showing about, the potential moves to where we're going, where we're headed to. This needs to remove. So I've updated it and moved it around because, yes, over here, and I'll back into all the charts, we are in a topping process. There is zero question about it. Where we go from this topping process is the question. And for now, with this being 3 waves up, ABC, I'm still looking at this as a bullish move where the drop that we get should not break below 56.67. The gap should not break below 56.67. As long as it does not break below 56.67, then that should be the B wave to the downside, or the wave 2, which I am not making it a wave 2 as of yet, and then the bounce up into the 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average, as we had expected, which then could very possibly be leading into a bigger A, B, C, for that being the B wave of this correction, and then the big move to the downside as we head into the death cross in end of April, early part of May, middle of May, with the 50-day and the 200-day crossing on the SPX. Bring you over here onto what we've been tracking, and that being that with the bounce off 55.04 and having gone nowhere for 2 weeks, the 1 or the A, the 2 or the B, the 3, where C equals A, would be reached up there at 57.99.98, that being 5,800. We have been having a little bit of an issue there. We already took over the 38.2 retracement of this drop at 57.50. The 50 retracement, which would make a little bit of sense, okay? 58.26 sitting up there just above. And we have the March 7 highs at 57.83 from back on Friday, March 7, before the big gap down, which we have yet to make any kind of contact with. So, a lot of questions about any kind of upside potential over here. Look over onto what we track here, and as you see the 200-day moving average, bam, gap down below that over the weekend from March 7th. And here we are having recovered it there on Monday, and we never came down to test it yesterday in that 26-point range that we had yesterday. Smallest range since prior to COVID. Sorry, prior to February 19th, the anniversary of COVID. Volume, all across the board. SPX, SPY, QQQ, Dow Jones, Russell 2000, all of them smallest volumes since that top was placed on February 19th earlier this year. So questionable about playing that upside for that 5,800. Questionable, be very careful about it. And at the same time, the downside, it's not going to come out and say, hey, we're dipping. It's going to show up without your notice. So being positioned ahead of it is the way that the game works. And like I said, I'm looking for 5,800s. I'm also looking for 5,700 during the course of this week. How can it happen? We're already here at 57.86. I apologize, I was wrong. We did come into last week, March 7th, Friday highs yesterday, 57.83. For the bullish put credit spread, I saw one or two people took it off. 50 cent, 75 cent scalp, held over the day from Monday to Tuesday. The downside play, $4 minimum. No less than $4 credit if you're playing the call credit spreads and you want to get the risk. Other than that, you play the 5,800s because 5,800's got its barrier up there. Over here on the IWM, looking at this from okay, where's this bounce headed to? Well, from that big, humongous drop down below 200. A, B, there is absolutely no way this thing is getting up here into 212, 214 to that 213 area without some kind of astronomical miracle coming out from, I couldn't tell you where. But you got GDP and PCE coming tomorrow. Over on the Dow Jones, same thing. As the structure does look very clean for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, fractional little ABC down here to the downside, this move to the upside should be no less than recovering up there into that 430, 433 area, how we already have 421, 425, which was what we expected. So being a devil's advocate and seeing how, okay, so let's say that this is our top and this is our bottom for that move. And then this is just a choppy ABC flat. Still, we're very, very shy of getting that move to the upside for this to be bullish. 428, 431. Very, very shy. So even lowering the targets on the DIA down to 428, having it be there at 430, lot of risk involved in looking to that to the upside. So I bring you over to the QQQ, which is where I'll leave you off before I bring you to the bigger, broader picture of everything. ABC, very clean, dead flat over the course of the last week and a half. Boom, gap up move, 491.82, accomplished yesterday. 200-day moving average, accomplished yesterday. This is the only one that has a clean ABC accomplished already, that being the QQQ, and that was the reason why we were in the September calls. Very questionable whether those April 17, 510 calls are going to work. Very, very questionable, but we'll see what we get. Because over on the QQQ, again, two massive gaps, having gapped above that problem 480.70 over the weekend, breaking above that 487, which it needed to do anyway, and holding above it. Very questionable what you got going on over here as you barely have reached the 38.2 retracement of the big drop. So a lot to be asked, a lot to be worried about as far as being a bullish trader at this moment in time, because I bring you over to, where are you? Come on, I know you're somewhere here. Here, sorry, apologize. The Dow Jones 4-hour time frame RSI screaming, I'm going overbought. The NDX 4-hour time frame screaming and hollering like a little kid in a toy store that's not getting the fucking what he wants. Extremely overbought up here at 94. SPX, same as Dow Jones, starting to scream pretty loudly, I'm going overbought. And the same thing over here on the Russell 2000 that says, hey guys, if you don't mind, can you like put a rope around me and drag me because I can't get up. I can't. So that's with that. And let me zoom out here and go on to the 1 hours just to finish you off. The 1 hour, as you see here, you started getting a little bit of a sell divergence on the 1 hour on the SPX yesterday. Over on the NDX, similar reaction. Got extremely overbought over there first thing in the morning, and then started placing a sell divergence over on the NDX on the 1 hour. So, last not least, where are we? Come back over here, and I will run you through one by one. Dow Jones daily getting right on up there into overbought. Not above overbought, but getting right up into overbought. SPX, same story. Getting up into overbought. Come over here on the NDX, same story. Getting up here into overbought. Come over onto the Russell 2000, and as weak as the Russell 2000 has been for better part of 3 weeks being oversold, not being able to fully reach up into overbought as of now. So be careful because, yes, a lot of people saw the stories that, yeah, 50 Cent, he's back out buying the April 24.5 calls on the VIX. I went out and I shared what I found, which was, where was it? I'll look here in the chat room, in the alerts. Got to move this, got to move on to that. And somebody bought 170,000 April 16th, 22 calls at 77 cents yesterday. So somebody is without a shadow of a doubt bearish heading into tax day. So sorry if I'm wasting your time. It is Wednesday. I will see you in the chat room. Later on today, I will put together a wide view Wednesday because I've got a lot of stress happening here with this brand new rig that I have of my computer, everything working great. Now suddenly I can't get into my old hard drive and I'm starting to get Windows errors. So I need a little bit of fresh air, and I'll see you guys in the chat room.